Hey everyone, who's first? Who's going to be first? We're going to be starting really soon. Today we have a lot of stuff to cover. Hayden. I think Hayden is first. Just getting things set up really quick. Let me take that back, KitKat. Let's just make the chat. There we go. Now I can see the chat. Okay, we're in business. Bring that closer. Let's get some more light here. All right. How is everyone doing? You guys voted on learning about nominalization. I can't even say it. Nominalization today. So that's what we're going to be covering. And there is a lot of stuff that we can talk about for nominalization that if we were to try to talk about everything, there would be no way we could fit it into 2 hours. So we'll get started right away. I was in the middle of Duolingo. Just checking the chat real quick. First live chat. Yeah, a bunch of you are here for your first time. Welcome. I've been doing these every week. I can't guarantee that I'll always do them every week because it'll depend on my schedule. Maybe if I'm trying to really finish a project, then I won't do one. But I'll let you know in advance if there will or won't be one every week. So usually around Tuesdays, I'll put up a vote on my channel. And if you see the vote, that means this week there's going to be a live chat. So far there's been one though every week for the past like 7 weeks. Yeah, a bunch of people who are here for the first time. All right, KitKat, I'm going to have to ask you to go down over here. Okay, so we can get started. I didn't say fall on the floor, KitKat, but okay. Slide on there. All right, so yeah, we're going to be learning about nominalization today. But first of all, I wanted to announce, again, last time I mentioned it too, but there is a active, I think you can't really see this pen really well on the board. I'm not going to use green. Let's just use the colors you see really well. So like blue, purple, stuff like that. There is a chat room that we have. If someone here is in the chat room, can you post a link to the invite if you have it? There is a really active Discord chat room that every day there's people in there learning Korean and practicing with each other. And I hope someone can post a link to it in the chat here. William, wait, we're not starting yet. I always start the chat a few minutes early just to get things worked out, to get the lights set up and everything working. But we haven't started the lesson yet. Can I speak Panmar to inanimate objects? Sure. Oh, Alice Gus, that's right. It only lets moderators post it. Is there a moderator in here? If not, I'll have to get an extra moderator for the live chat. Anyway, there is a link. You can find the link in my YouTube community tab. So if you go on my channel, there's a tab called Community. And if you go there, there's a link to access. Oh, there we go. Ahimang, thanks. Ahimang for the save. You don't need this then. Go to the Discord chat room, and Ahimang just posted a link to it. There's already over 300 people there on a daily basis, and people practicing Korean, asking questions, sharing resources, sharing Korean media, maybe things they just like to practice with, and just generally talking. There's a voice chat. There's a lot of things going on, and it's only been open for about a week or so, 2 weeks, I'd say. So it's still quite small, but there's always someone there who can help you if you have questions. And I think it's a really good, useful resource for you. So check that out. Okay, so now it is 2 o'clock. Let's get started with today's lesson. Off topic, but do you ever wash your shirt? No, I don't. Never washed a shirt in my entire life, ever. I've been wearing the same shirt 5 years. Never once washed it. No, I have multiple of these same shirts, and I wash it. If you have do you need an app to use Discord on your phone? If you want to use it on your phone, there's an app. If you want to use it on the desktop, there is an app if you want, but you can also just use it in your browser. So you don't have to download an app to use it. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, nominalization. What is nominalization? Most of you asked me to cover this topic for today, and it got me thinking, why would people ask for me to cover nominalization, specifically if you go on Google or go on YouTube and you search Korean nominalization, like, nun kot or ki. If you search these on Google or YouTube, you'll find lots of videos covering it. In fact, I have a video that covers these two forms already on my YouTube channel with a PDF lesson, and there's lots of example sentences. But I thought, no, there's got to be a reason why they would still want to learn about nominalization. What I figured out is I think the reason is because this type of construction, nungot and ki, these appear in so many different places, not only when they're being used for nominalization. So we're going to be covering actually two different things today. First, we're going to be covering simply nominalization, what it is, how it's used, and then we're going to be covering also these individual forms, what they're used for outside of just nominalization, which in my opinion, just nominalization itself is quite a simple topic. What it is nominalization comes from the word nom, which is Latin, I believe, for name. That's where the word noun also comes from. A noun is actually the word for a name of a person, a name of a place, or a name of a thing. So that's where you get noun. So basically noun, ilization means to make something or to change something to become something. So we have this nominalization meaning to change something into a noun. So to take something and change it into a noun. And specifically when it comes to Korean, nominalization is referring to taking a Korean verb and changing that verb into a noun. So what does that really mean? You have a verb, for example, let's take a look at English first of all. So we can actually do nominalization in English too. And in English, this isn't even a word. No one really even says nominalization in English because of how simple it is to change a verb in English into a noun. For example, you might say the verb, let's just take the verb to swim. To whim? Okay. To swim. So we have the verb swim, right? What if we wanted to make this into a noun? So if you wanted to say, well, how would you use a noun? Well, you can use a noun like an object. You can use a noun to describe something. Like a noun would be this pen. Like you say, I like this pen. Pen is a noun. But how would you say swim? You can't say, you can't have a swim, right? There is no noun. There is no thing that's called a swim. There is no object called a swim. So how would you make swim a verb into a noun? What would that really mean? Well, in English, you can do it. Well, not this word actually requires an extra M, but normally you just add the sound ing, swimming. So I like swimming. So now we have this noun, this thing. You can't touch swimming, but it's a thing. So you can say, I like swimming, or swimming is difficult. And now we can describe this verb, which previously we couldn't do anything with. You could do swimming, you could not do swimming, and that's it. But now you can describe the act of, kind of think of this as meaning the act of the thing that swimming is. So swimming, now you can use it in Korean with descriptive verbs. You can make it an object and have verbs do things to it. You can say, I am learning a noun, like I am learning Korean, right? Korean's a noun. Now you can say, I'm learning swimming. So you can change a verb into a noun, which gives you a lot of interesting possibilities for how you can make your sentences. And Korean has the exact same thing. Unfortunately, in Korean, it's not as straightforward as just adding ing to the end of the word. It requires a couple extra steps, which is why this nominalization is even a thing in Korean. If it was just in English, you know, I think they just call this a gerund. So if you're familiar with English grammar, this type of thing is referred to as a gerund, I believe. This is the same idea. It's not, gerund is not the exact same thing as nominalization, but it's the same concept. You get a noun version of a verb, whereas nominalization is the process of changing a verb into a noun. So it's kind of the same idea. So in Korean, to do nominalization, it takes a little bit more work than doing it in English, but it's not difficult. I'll let you know, this is not an advanced or even intermediate concept. This is a beginning level concept. So if you are still at the beginning level and you know some basic verbs, as long as you know the alphabet, first at least know the alphabet. As long as you know that, you should be able to follow along. This is a basic concept. I'd say this is a beginning level concept. Let's take a minute break and just look at the chat. Let's see. I have school tomorrow, but I can't skip the live. No, you can. If you have school tomorrow, if you have something really important you have to do right now, don't let me keep you. This live stream, like all of them, are uploaded on my channel. There's a playlist called live streams, and you can click through there and watch this anytime you want. If you're watching this later, so not live, but if you're watching this at your computer, I recommend putting this to like 1.5 speed, putting it much faster, because I go a little bit slower because I really want to make sure everyone in the chat understands. But if you're just listening to this and you just kind of want to go through it really quickly, you can play it faster, even 2 times if you're really focused. But 1.5 times is a little bit easier to do. Is Peppu used often? Yeah, best friend. It's slang though. If you say it, it kind of sounds humorous, like you're trying to make a joke. Oh yeah, Himang, no problem. Before you leave though, also make sure, like right before you leave, spam the chat link one more time. And I'll get an extra moderator also to help, just so that there won't be any issues. Will do, mate. Thanks, cool. Yeah, Himang's really helpful. I was just about to learn this in my book. Yes, and what we're going to be covering today is the basics that you would learn in a book, as well as a lot of usage situations for this, because that's really what causes confusion, is not just how to make nominalization in Korean, but exactly when do you use each one. Will you ever do a live about uro? There is a lesson about uro on my channel. How to say the time and stuff. Yes, I have a lesson in my Korean RPG series, on my video series about how to tell the time. If you're wondering if I have a lesson about something, search my YouTube. I probably do. I have lessons on almost everything that's commonly asked, and then most of things that are semi-regularly asked they're already in my channel. But if you searched and you can't find it, then ask me and I'll consider if I can make a lesson about that. If enough people ask for something and I don't have it, I'll definitely make a lesson. Okay. So let's continue. Okay, anyway, so in Korean, you need nominalization as you do in English in order to make a sentence like this. I like swimming. I like swimming. So in Korean, remember that Korean is a subject, object, verb language. So the English sentence I like swimming in Korean would be I swimming like. And swimming is the noun, and like is the verb, right? So we need to be able to turn verbs into nouns in order to say things like this in Korean. For reference, the verb for to swim in Korean is 수영하다. 수영하다. This means just to swim. So in order to say I like swimming, you're going to have to change this verb to swim into a noun that means swimming. You don't need to learn a separate word for the word swimming. You simply take any verb and you can change it. So you don't have to learn a separate word for swimming, separate word for studying. You just have to learn the word swim and study, and then how to change them into, well, nouns here. However, let's see. I did want to give a disclaimer in that nominalization isn't only the exact same thing as adding ing to the end of your word. In English, it is. In English, a gerund is this, like I was mentioning. You just add ing or sometimes MING, depending on the spelling. In Korean, it's not the exact same because, I'll tell you why. The sentence, I like swimming and I like to swim, are both acceptable in English. The reason is I like to is a different grammar form that uses a verb. I like to do. I like to eat. This is not a noun in English. This is still just the verb swim. However, both of these sentences, I like swimming and I like to swim, in Korean will use the same nominalization form. So even though the English sentence does not have a ing at the end, I like to swim, people might say, oh, to swim. To swim is 수영하다, right? To swim, because you learn that in your dictionary, you learn that in your textbook. 수영하다 means to swim. So I like to swim. 저는 수영, I'm just doing this quickly because it's wrong. 하다를 좋아해요. Right? 좋아해요. Imagine it says 좋아해요. 저는 수영하다를 좋아해요. It's what people might think because they think I like to swim. But that is not what this means. In Korean, you have to remember that verbs, action verbs such as 좋아하다, to like, have to take an object. They have to take an object if you are liking something. You like something, you like to swim. That to swim, although it's to swim, it's actually a noun in Korean. It has to be a noun because only nouns can be objects of a verb. You can't make a verb an object of a verb. In Korean, an object has to be a noun. So you remember like I taught the sentence like 치즈를 먹어요. I eat cheese. 먹어요 is a verb. You have to eat. What do you eat? Well, you eat something. You have to eat a noun. So you can eat cheese or whatever other noun you want to eat. You can't eat to swim, right? You can't eat a verb. You can't eat to see. You can only eat an object. You can only eat a noun. So the same thing with to like. In Korean, you can only like an object. In English, though, you can like to do something, but in Korean, you can only like an object. So you have to make this into a noun. You have to make every verb into a noun before you can use it as an object. So I just wanted to be clear on that it's not only if it's ing in English, but you might also see it written like this, but in Korean, it's the exact same thing. So if you were to say, I like swimming in Korean, or I like to swim in Korean, it'll be the exact same thing. And we'll learn about how to do that next. So I just want to get some disclaimers out of the way because I think that teaching that it's only ing can be confusing because then people will translate things that way. You could eat someone's eyes. Yes, that's a bit too much. Are you talking about Yes, we'll also cover that as well. That's one of the 3 types of nominalization, which we'll cover last. Okay, so the most common nominalization form, and if you're stressed for time, just learn this one, is you take an action verb stem. I'm just going to write AVS, which is action verb stem. So if you have the verb 하다, anything ending in 다, you just you remove the 다. There you go. Then you attach 기, 하기. You have another verb, 살다, to live. You remove the 다, 살기. That's it. That's all you have to do. So this is actually, in my opinion, this is actually simpler than just adding, at least this form is, simpler than adding ing to a verb because all you do is remove the end and attach 기. It doesn't matter how it's spelled. It's always remove the ending and attach 기. So just write this clearly over here. Action, it has to be an action verb because you cannot make a descriptive verb like to be pretty. You can't pretty something. It doesn't make any sense. So it's only for action verbs where you're doing something. Action verb stem plus 기. So this is the most commonly used nominalization form. And there's actually 3 nominalization forms that we're going to talk about today. two of which are the most important to learn, and this one is the most common one. So if you just want a really quick answer, how do I change a verb into a noun? Take the verb stem and attach ki, and you're done. But that's not all we're talking about today. We're going to go in depth, a little more in depth than that. So let me give you some examples of that. So first you can have, let's make our previous sentence, I like to swim. Before I write this though, I'll let you know again, 수영하다 is to swim. How would you guys say I like swimming now? So if 수영하다 means to swim, in the chat, try to say, I like swimming. So we need to make this into a noun. 수영하다 to swim. We need to say, I like swimming. How would you say, I like swimming? I could just write it, but I think you guys should try this out before we go on. Yes, I like swimming. In Korean, not in English. Yeah, a few of you guys have got it. RIDH1, read1 SJG, that would be incorrect. 치즈를 먹는 싫어요 would be incorrect. Okay, you guys are close. Some of you guys wrote it as 수영, but that's not how we're doing it for this part. It has to be 수영하기. So 저는, if you want to say I, you don't have to. 수영하기. Now remember, now that we've changed this verb into a noun, and we're going to use it as an object with 좋아하다, so to like. So I like, 좋아해요. But it's an object, it's a noun. So we should mark it with the object marker as we learned in last week's lesson. So you might not see Koreans do that all the time, but I would recommend doing it just because it keeps your sentence more organized and easy to understand. 수영하기를 좋아해요. So I like the act of swimming, which is kind of what the nominalization means. The act of doing something. Swimming. The noun swimming. I like the noun swimming. So I like the object swimming. 수영 is already a noun, but it's not used in that way. When we'll actually talk about using just the word by itself, as well as using it like this toward the end of this lesson. But for now, we're just following this part. 저는 수영하기를 좋아해요. Oh, some of you are even going ahead and doing the other form, 하는 것. We haven't talked about that one yet. You can use it here, but I'll explain how to use that one and how that's different than this form. Let's do another example. How about this? I'll tell you, to learn Korean, 한국어를 배우다. 한국어를 배우다. To learn Korean. How would you say it's difficult to learn Korean? Or I should say, what we're going to be saying is, learning Korean is difficult. For those of you who don't know, the word for difficult is 어렵다. Oops, sorry, I did that upside down. 어렵다, to be difficult. So how would you take this? 한국어를 배우다 means to learn Korean. How would you use this verb here and change it to say, learning Korean is difficult? Go ahead and give that a try. Yeah, I see some of you guys have already, or one of you has already gotten it. Let's see. 2 of you have gotten it. 3 of you, 4 of you. Okay, several of you have gotten it so far. Nice, nice. How much time do I need to be fluent like me? It depends how much you're studying. But I wouldn't beat yourself up after a few years if you're not fluent yet. It can take a long time, depending how much you're studying and how you are studying also. 한국어를 배우기 어렵다. Yes, you can say 한국어를 배우기. And then you can say 어려워요. So you should probably conjugate this. Okay. Thanks for letting me know, though. Okay, we're back. We're back. All right. So yes, last week's lesson, we talked about the subject marker and the topic marker and the object marker. So remember, you probably would want to use the subject marker since the subject of the sentence is learning Korean. Now, this is actually a verb. Since we've changed it to with nominalization and added ki, this section, 한국어를 배우기, has now become a noun. So since we're describing a noun, you'll want to mark it with the subject marker, as we learned last week in the large lesson. If you didn't watch last week's lesson, I'd say it's extremely important. It's a very beginner level lesson, but it's very important for understanding how topic markers and subject markers work. So you'll mark it with the subject marker here, and then 어려워요. It's difficult. So learning Korean is difficult. Now, the reason I gave you this longer example is because I want you to see how it's not only changing one verb to use it as a noun, and I think a lot of you guys picked it up. It's not only changing one verb to become a noun, but it's actually changing the entire section to become a noun. So you can say, learning Korean is difficult, or you can just say, learning is difficult. Either way, it changes that part of the sentence to be used as a noun. So now you can use this, 한국어를 배우기. You can say, I like learning Korean with 한국어를 배우기를 좋아해요, just like we did before. Now you're saying, I like learning Korean. It doesn't have to be only one verb that you're changing into a noun. It's actually whatever you want. It could be a phrase, or it can be a really long phrase or a really short phrase like this, learning Korean. And you can use it just like a noun in any way in Korean that you would want to use a noun. Yeah, it was from Pay Respects, Call of Duty, that's right. It's also for Frozen. That works too, yeah. I was thinking of it as Call of Duty. Okay, so I have a few more examples. I know you guys like to see examples, so I think so far, though, a good portion of you are kind of getting it so far. So I'm going to give another sentence. I want you guys to try to translate this. 서울에서 운전 means driving. 서울에서 운전하기가 무서워요. This could be above your level if you're still a new beginner, but I'll let you know that 운전하다 means to drive, 무서워요 means scary, and 서울에서 means in Seoul. Yeah, driving in Seoul is scary. So don't make me look bad, Billy. So yeah, so we have 서울에서, which is just doing something in Seoul. As far as learning nominalization, you can actually ignore this part if you just want to focus on nominalization. 운전하기, driving, or remember, as I said before, a good way to think of it is as translating as the act of. The act of doing. So the act of here, driving. The act of driving is scary. So it is scary to drive in Seoul, or driving in Seoul is scary. Notice driving. We've got that ing again there as well. So driving in Seoul is scary, or it's scary to drive in Seoul. Exact same meaning in English. In Korean, though, they're both done with this exact same form. And if you've ever driven in Seoul, it is kind of scary. Okay, I'm trying to move through this quickly because today's summary, which I will upload on Patreon after this live stream finishes, today's summary is to 3 pages long. And this doesn't include everything we're talking about. This is just a summary of stuff I want to talk about. So hopefully we can get through all of it. I really do not like going over 2 hours just because I want to make sure that people who watch this later don't have to set aside their whole afternoon to do a live stream. I think 2 hours is the maximum. And if I could, I would even like to do it in an hour, like an hour 15. But today's lesson will not be that short. Okay, next one. I have another sentence. And this one I'll explain. You don't have to translate this yet. So, 보기도 싫어요. 보기 comes from the verb 보다, to see or to look. 도 means even. So even looking, 싫어요 means I don't like something or dislike. So this means I don't even want to look at it. 보기도, even looking at it, is dislike, is dislikeful. It's actually this descriptive verb 싫다 is actually quite difficult to translate naturally in English because it's a descriptive verb, but it means dislike. But in English, to dislike something is an action verb, and in Korean they often use this descriptive verb, which does not have an object. It can use a subject. So they often use this verb to mean to dislike something. So I don't even like it. I don't even like looking at it. So maybe you took a test and your teacher says, oh, here, everyone, here's your grades. And they pass back the grades. And you get your test results. And you're like, oh, 보기도 싫어요. I don't even want to look. Like even looking at it is dislikeful. I dislike even looking at it. You can think about it like that. So this is just one more example of how nominalization might be used. And I'd like to teach you this form specifically because it's very commonly used. 기, 싫다. So you take an action verb stem and attach 기, just like before, and then you use the descriptive verb. This is descriptive verb. This is not an action verb. I have to make that very clear. This cannot use the object marker. If you're saying something을, it's like 그 사람을 싫어요, it's wrong. You have to use this with, this cannot have an object because it's not doing something to something. It is a descriptive verb. It is describing a noun. So in this case, the noun that this descriptive verb is describing is this verb. This form means I or you don't want to verb. I don't want to verb. And this is I would say not slang, but slightly casual grammar. So this would be really useful to use with Korean friends. It's not rude. This is not a rude form, but it's definitely not formal. So you wouldn't want to say this in business situations, but for friends or a close acquaintance, you can use this form to say you don't want to do something. So how would you use this form to say, I don't want to eat a hamburger? How would you say, I don't want to eat a hamburger using this form? There are other ways you can say, I don't want to eat a hamburger. There are many ways you can say, 안 먹고 싶어. 먹고 싶지 않아. I don't want to eat it. There are lots of ways to say that, but this is more of a casual way that just says, I really dislike doing that. And literally means I dislike doing something, but it's used to say I don't want to do something. How would you say that? Oh, Lamsa, you got top kick there. Thanks, Lamsa. It says, except it shows up in euros. I think, is that euros or francs? I can't tell. It's small text. 314. 3.14. Is that supposed to be pi? Thanks, Lamsa. 사람. Yes. 햄버거 먹기 싫어. 먹기 싫어. 햄버거를 먹기 싫어요. Perfect. You guys have got it. 햄버거 먹기 싫어요. 햄버거 먹기 싫어요. 햄버거를 먹기 싫어해요. You can say 햄버거를 먹기 싫어해요, but that's different. Because 싫어하다 is different in meaning than 싫다. 싫어하다 is an action verb, and that can use an object. So you can say 그 사람을, that person, 그 사람을, then you can say 싫어해요, which is the different verb that you wrote. 싫어해요. That just means I dislike that person. So if you say 먹기를 싫어해. Oh no, I think I was gone for like 30 seconds. Someone saying no freezing streams, those were the days. That never existed. It's always been frozen. What did it cut off? Do you remember when his streams never froze? That's never happened. They've always frozen. They've never not frozen, even before I did these live classes. What was I talking about when it froze? I'm wondering how far I got. No, it's not frozen now. It's back up. Basic sentence structure. Yes, I have a full live stream on basic sentence structure. I recommend, if you're wondering if I have a video on something, search my channel. I probably do. But if I don't, then you come back and ask me. To the hamburger question. Okay. What I was saying was about 싫다 and 싫어하다. Oh, I did a full explanation on that. This must have been cut out for 30 seconds then. 싫어해요 simply means I dislike something. So if you're using it with nominalization with this form, like if you say hamburger 먹기를 싫어해요, all you're saying is I dislike eating hamburgers. You're not saying I don't want to eat hamburgers. Literally and naturally, all you're saying is I dislike eating hamburgers. And that's probably not what you want to say. Whereas if you use the 기 싫다 form that I gave, that means just I don't want to do something. Like I do not want to do that. So it's different. 싫어해요 means perfect. I mean, makes perfect sense too grammatically, but it's just simply saying I dislike doing something. I dislike swimming. I dislike the act of reading, something like that. It's not saying I don't want to do it. Like I really don't want to do it. It's different. It's just saying I dislike that action. Okay. Okay, so next sentence is 수영하기에 좋은 날씨. This one is not a full sentence. It's simply a piece of a sentence. Actually, I would say this whole thing could be used as a noun. 수영하기에 좋은 날씨. 좋은, first of all, 좋은 means good. This is an adjective. And if you don't know how to conjugate adjectives, I have a video about that in my Learn Korean series. So good weather, 날씨 is weather. And then this 기에 means to, literally means to doing. So to swimming. To swimming. We have swimming here. Swimming to good weather. Or good weather to swimming. In English, we would say good weather for swimming. But in Korean, they say good weather to, or they say something bad to. Whereas in English, we might say it's bad for your health. For health, 건강. Korean will say to your health. So you can say 건강 means health. You can say 건강에 좋아요. It is good for your health. Or 건강에 안 좋아요. It's not good for your health. 수영하기에 좋은 날씨예요. It's good weather to swimming. It's good weather for the act of swimming, or literally to the act of swimming. So this is one more usage that you might see is 기 with 에, and that can mean for doing something. So you might want to have he's a nice person. It's a good atmosphere for meeting new people. Anything like that you'd want to say in English, you would use with this particle 에, as well as the nominalization form 기. So that's one more common usage of this form. Okay, let me just check the chat for a moment. The difference between 기 싫다 and just 싫다? Well, 기 싫다 is how you use it with a noun, because 싫다 is just a descriptive verb, and you cannot use it with an object. So you cannot use 싫다 with an object. You can't say I dislike something by using the object marker. There. That was really bad. That's like my worst learn I ever wrote in my entire life. Okay, you can't say it with like 싫다 with... Okay, I should stand on the other side of the board. But anyway, so you wouldn't use it with the object marker like this. If you want to use it with a noun, you have to mark it with the subject marker, which would be 이 or 가. Something is disliked, literally. But if you're using 기 싫다, now you can use this verb as if it's a noun. So now instead of a regular noun like I dislike that person, or I dislike pizza, 피자가 싫어요. I don't know why you dislike pizza. 피자가 싫어요 means I dislike pizza. 수영하기가 싫어요 means I dislike swimming, literally. Or as I gave you an example here, colloquially, it means I don't want to swim. Okay. Yes, the pizza is dislikable is what it literally means. There is no actual one-to-one translation for 싫다 in English, but it's used to say that you do not like something. That's right. 싫어하다 is like you're actively disliking the pizza. And 싫어하다 would more naturally just translate as I don't like. Like I dislike something. I do not like something. 사람. Oh, you changed your name from it used to be 람사. Now it's 사람. 사람, do you know what the emote says? Do you know what it says on it? It says just deal with it. It says deal with it in Korean. In case anyone's wondering what the little tiny Sejongdaewang with the sunglasses is saying deal with it in Korean. It's too small. Yeah, it's really small. You can read it if you expand it really big because I wrote it. You can read it if you zoom it in, but it's too small to read it on a phone or anything like that. Okay. So when is this form used? Well, anytime that you want to say a verb as a noun, in general, you can use this. But also, this is the form that you're going to use whenever you're making a list. So I'll give you a few specific cases when you really will use this form. The first one is whenever you're making a list of something. So if you're making like a to-do list, So today I want to work. 일하다 is to work. So 일하기. I'm going to take a shower. So 샤워하기. And then I'm going to eat something. So 밥 먹기. Working, showering, eating, right? So if you're making a list of things that you're going to do or a list of any verbs that you want to be as nouns, so now you're changing verbs to nouns and you want to list those things. So you have more than one and you're just listing them. You're just saying a bunch of them. You have to use this form. You will not use the other nominalization forms which we were going to talk about today. You have to use this form to make a list. Okay, I'm going to go kind of a little faster because we won't be able to finish everything if I don't speed up. The next thing is you'll use this for like a title, like titles that are using nominalization. So if you want to have a verb change into a noun and it needs to be part of a title, like maybe a chapter in a book, like maybe you have a chapter in a book that's called listening, right? It's called listening practice or whatever. 듣기. 듣다 means to listen. 듣기 means listening. You wouldn't use the other form for this. This is what you use whenever you're just like listing off a bunch of different nouns that used to be verbs. You'll have to use this form here. So it's used for making to-do list. It's used for making chapter titles, like maybe 쓰기, to write something. So writing, 읽기, reading. So like if you're reading a book and it says like listening practice is very important and the book title chapter is called like 읽기 something, then you would use this. And finally, buttons, like computer buttons. Like anything on an interface. So like closing a document would be like 닫다 is to close. So 닫기. Let's see. 보내기 would be to send from 보내다. 보내기. Like that. So the main thing though, I'd say these are less common titles and buttons. Most common usage would be for a to-do list. So anytime you see multiple nouns made from verbs that are anywhere together in any situation, it will always have to use this form. It has to. Using the other form will make it sound a little bit strange. 피자가 싫어 and 피자가 싫어해. 피자가 싫어해 is wrong, as I said. Because 싫어하다 is an action verb and it takes an object. Okay, I see you corrected. 피자를 싫어해. They're not the same. As I said, they're used differently. But in general, if you're just talking about like to say you dislike pizza, 피자가 싫어, and 피자를 싫어해, yes, that's pretty much the same. Yeah, 학습하기. 2번, 쓰기. That's right, Tessa. 빌리, 한국 지금 I'm not in Korea, I'm in America. Okay, so let's go on. I want to make sure we cover everything important. And there's some stuff that I don't have to cover today, but I would like to. But at least I want to do the really important stuff today. And then there are many grammar forms this is the one that a lot of people are confused about is grammar forms, a lot of grammar forms, most grammar forms that use nominalization in some way will use this form with 기. For example, something 기 전에, which means before you do something. So like you might say 가기 전에, before you go, 먹기 전에, before you eat. You should brush your teeth. This would be the opposite after you eat. Anyway, before you eat, brush your teeth. 먹기 전에, then you would say 양치, to brush your teeth, 양치하세요, or whatever you want to say. So 기 전에, before doing something. Another form which we've already learned, 기 때문에, or 기 때문, because of. So like 샤워하기 때문에, because I took a shower, because I take showers. 수영하기 때문에, because I swim. 샤워를 해야 돼요. Because I swim, I have to take a shower. Because of any doing, because of doing anything. So when you're using the because form, and I've talked about this in a previous lesson. I think this was actually my very first live stream. We talked about sentence connectors. And one of them was 때문, for how to say because. So if you need a review on that, go watch that lesson. I won't go over it again here. But that uses this same nominalization form. Another one, brush teeth before eating. Yeah, I don't do it before eating either. Another one is 기 위해, which means for or in order to. So you might say 한국에 가기 위해, then something, whatever, after that means in order to go, literally in order to go, in order for going to Korea, or in English we'd say in order to go to Korea, and then you might say you need to earn money, or you need to work, or you need to study Korean. 한국어를 공부해야 돼요. You have to study Korean in order to go to Korea, or something like that. So I'm going to just give you a quick overview of some of these forms, but I'm not going to be going in depth. I actually have lessons on these on my channel, most of them anyway. Another common one is 기 시작하다. 기 시작하다 means to start doing something. So you could say 공부하기 시작하자. Let's start studying. Something 기 시작하다 means to begin or to start doing something. So that's how you could say, oh, I started studying Korean. So you could say 한국어를 공부하기, studying, as we hear, 시작했어요. 시작했어요. I started. 시작했어요. 공부하기 시작했어요. I started studying. 한국어를 공부하기 시작했어요. I started studying Korean. Like that. And you can use that with 기 also. And this form has to use this nominalization form. You cannot use the other nominalization form with these grammar forms. And my opinion is most grammar forms that use some sort of nominalization will use this form. So this one is a really useful one to learn. There's more. This one is a bit of an intermediate one. If you ever see the form 기로 and then 하다, that means to decide to do something. So like I decided to study Korean. 공부하기로 했어요. I decided to do studying. I decided to study Korean. This is more of an intermediate form, so I won't go into it here. But this is also the same nominalization form, and you have to use it with this nominalization form or it just won't make any sense. Another one would be, oh yeah, a really common one. 기도하다. I'll actually give you a quick explanation of this. So, I taught 보기도 싫어요 before. I don't even want to look at it. We also have 기도 with 하다. And this 기도하다 means to even or also, or to even, and then do something with a verb. So do something. So for example, if someone's like, this 기도하다 form, if someone's like, oh, can you cook cake? Can you bake cake or something? Someone asks you, can you bake cake? Anyway, they ask you, can you make something? You say, yes, not only can I bake a cake, but I can even 요리, cooking, 하다 means to cook. 요리하기도 해요. I even cook. I even do, literally, I even do cooking. Or basically, I do even cooking. I even cook, right? So you might say, someone might say, oh, can you, do you like going to the beach? You say, yes, I love going to the beach. I can even swim. 수영하기도 해요. I mean, it's not really worth bragging about if you can swim, but just for an example, this means you even do something. And this form for saying something that you even do or also do will use the same key, this same nominalization form, because it literally means to do even from the tool. So to do even, the verb. To do even, well, now it's a noun. So to do even studying. So I even study Korean. 한국어를 공부하기도 해요. And you can use that any way you like. You could say 공부하기도 했어요. I even studied Korean if you want to do past tense. The cake is a lie. Can we say 요리도 해요? I cook too. Yes, that's different though, but that's not saying I even do cooking. That's just saying I even cook. But you can't do that for every verb. It's only with 하다 verbs because you can't separate other verbs like that. Oops, I always keep that. There's another one I wanted to do. Yeah. 기파라다. Now, there's actually a lot of grammar forms more. I'm just trying, these are some of the most common ones that you'll see use this nominalization form, but there's actually a lot more. 기파라다 means to hope that something happens. 잘 되기를, 잘 되기 바라다. I hope it goes well. Or, yeah, anything like that, to hope something. This is also more of an intermediate form, so I probably shouldn't go into it for today's stream, since nominalization is more of a beginner level concept. But there, you'll notice that a lot of grammar forms will use this nominalization form together with it. So if you ever see this key at the end of a verb, it's actually nominalization. And maybe thinking about it as a nominalized verb will make it seem more intuitive. It'll help make more sense to you. So for example, before doing something, 하기 전에, you might think, oh, it's just how I say before something, but what's this key? Now you know, before doing, the verb ing, before doing that thing. 시작하다 with key, starting, to start doing something, start studying, start reading. To even, I even do cooking. Cooking even, I do, right? Because I am cooking, because I am swimming, or anything like that. You can kind of translate it in your head this way, and hopefully should help a lot of these forms that you see in the future to make a little bit more sense to you, because that's all it is. It's simply the nominalization form. It's not something special. It's just the nominalization form used here to make it into a noun. Okay, so that was 50 minutes just to cover one of our forms. We have another form we have to learn. So we have 기. The next one we're going to learn about is the other one. Actually, let me use the same color with this. 는 것. So to make this form, it's the exact same as the 기 form. Instead of 기 though, you attach 는 것, and you're done. Or you might see 는 거. Same thing for the most part. There's some exceptions, but for the most part, it's the same thing. If you see 것 or 거. So this form and the regular key form, what's the difference? Well, there are some situations where you need to use one or the other. As I already said, you'll want to use the key form with most grammar forms, and those ones you'll learn. So don't try to memorize a list of all the grammar forms that key will use or the grammar forms that nun might use. That's useless, honestly. I think that would be really useless and a waste of your time. Best is just when you learn those grammar forms anyway, think about that form with key as being a nominalization, as being a noun. So that should help you to understand a little bit more easily. This one is more of a slightly more formal. So if you have to compare nun with ki, the difference is nun is slightly more formal. A little bit, not much, just a little bit if we're comparing. That doesn't mean that you should only use this one when you're speaking formally or only use the other one when you're speaking informally. It does not mean that at all. It just means if we have to come up with a difference just between these two forms without looking at grammar, that would be the difference. But it's actually just better to learn when and where each of these forms used. This one also has a slightly different method of conjugation. So for the key, all we do is attach key. For this one, there's one more step. If the verb stem ends in this letter, 릴, you remove it. Remove it. So if you have the verb 팔다, to sell something, so I'm going to sell something, then after you remove the verb stem, you see the verb stem, you remove the 다, the verb stem ends in the 릴, so we remove the 릴, and now we get 파는 것. That's it. So there's one extra step for this. If you want to know why it does that, it's grammar that has to do with these two letters. I've explained this before, but these two letters don't really like each other, and sometimes they love and hate each other. Sometimes they get married and they come together. Sometimes one makes the other change into the other, and other times that just makes it go away. So it depends on the form, but in a lot of grammar forms that use this letter, so it's not just this, but it's also like neo, nayo. You'll see a lot of these, like any form of nun or un or in. These ones always make the lir go away for grammar. So it's a common thing that you'll notice. So if you start noticing that more, you might be able to even predict it when you see new grammar forms that, oh, it has a nia, and it's going to probably get rid of the lir in the verb stem. So that's all we have to do. That's the only special rule for it. So let's take a look at a few examples. As I mentioned, there's not really difference between this one and ki, except for which grammar forms you need to use it in. So if you're just using it in general, like you just want to change a verb into a noun, and that's it. You're not using this in a grammar form. You're not trying to use the 기 싫다. You're not trying to change it to 눈꽃 싫다. That's wrong. You can't say that. If you just want to say a verb, if you just want to change a verb into a noun, you can use this form or ki in the exact same way, and you're going to be correct 100% of the time. You're totally okay using this form or ki in the exact same situations, except those specific cases that I told you, such as a to-do list, or a title of a button, or a title of a chapter, or those grammar forms, specific grammar forms. You cannot take a grammar form and change the nominalization of one to another nominalization. Besides that, you just want to say, I like swimming, right? Before we had 수영하기를 좋아해요, right? So how would we change this? I want you guys to try this in the chat. How would we change this to use this nominalization form? Just gonna get a drink of water. 한 것 and 하는 것. We'll also cover that today. Leonardo Paredes, 좋아하다 takes an object. So you would have to say not K. K is actually koshi. That's the subject marker. That's not how you say I like something. You'd have to say kolsir because it's an object. And I did a lesson last week about object markers, and about 30 minutes, only about 30 minutes of that lesson is the object marker. So I'd recommend going back to watch that for a review. But yes, 수영하는 걸 or 수영하는 것을, 수영하는 거, yes. 좋아해요. Oh, is there a problem with glare? Hold on. Oh yeah, I can fix that. Hold on. Okay, no one needs to be banned. No one needs to be banned here. Unless he's doing something else. Yeah, if you really need to get my attention about something like stream problems, it's okay to use caps. Like a glare, I really want to know about that. I didn't realize that there was the glare from the other light, but I've moved it since. You know. Okay, so we've got this form. We can also just use it as, so we have hagi. We can also just say 하는 것을, just like that. So we can either use 는 것 or we can use 기. So you can either use 것 or 기, and that's the nice thing about either of these grammar forms is that you can use 기 or 는 것 both in every same situation as long as it's not with a grammar form. So if it's a specific grammar form, like in order to say before doing something, don't use it like that. Only use it in general situations when you just want to use a verb as an object, or if you want to use a verb as a subject. So if you want to use a verb as a noun, and that's all you're doing, anytime you're going to be okay changing it to 는 것 or 기, and they'll both be equally correct. So you're okay about that. I think people might still be saying F because so for some people, even though the stream's back up, it might not be up for everyone else's page. So if it goes down, I always turn it back on within like 10 seconds or so, but it might still take 30 seconds or whatever for that lag because of the delay before you see it again, even if it's back up again. But if you already see people saying F, you don't have to spam it, but I don't mind. It's okay. It doesn't bother me. All right, so 수영하는 것을 좋아해요. I like the act of swimming, or same thing. I like swimming, just like before. I like to swim. Either way you want to translate it. So both of them are okay, which is the nice thing to learn. That you don't have to stress whether you should use 기 or 는 것 if you're just trying to change something from a verb to a noun. Both of them are fine. Just want to make sure that's clear. Okay, now I want your guys's help for this next one. I'm going to give you a piece. Let's do teaching Korean. How would you say, how would you say teaching Korean is easy? So the verb, the descriptive verb for to be easy is 쉽다. 쉽다. You'll have to conjugate this though. This is unconjugated, so you shouldn't use it without conjugating it. But I want you to say, teaching Korean is easy, or it is easy to teach Korean. How would you say that? Soft struck, you're missing the 것 here. Remember? 것. 한국어를 가르치는 게 쉬워요. Yep, that's nice. Yeah, the lesson plans are all on Patreon. They're from even the lowest Patreon level, so you don't have to like spend a lot of money. They're just optional though, if you want to look through the notes that I wrote for the lessons. So yes, a few of you have already gotten it. 한국어 가르치는 곳 or 한국어를 가르치는 개. However, blind guy 0, you can't use 를. It's not 를 because 쉽다 is not an action verb. You cannot easy something. Something is easy, so you have to use the subject marker. So you cannot use the object marker with a descriptive verb. Okay. 한국 가르치는 곳을, again, that makes sense. It cannot use an object marker because this cannot use an object. This means to be easy, but if you have an object, that means you are easying something, but that doesn't make any sense. You can only have an object marker with an action verb. The object marker is this. So you cannot use the or der with anything except an action verb. Wait, I just saw something on the screen. Oh. Here's my mom trying to call me. I'll answer that later. Oh, did someone get banned? I don't know. Did he say something else bad? Okay. So, next thing. I want you guys to guess what this means. I'll do different one. I'll write it out slowly. Okay. 재미있어요. There we go. Let's use that. 책을 읽는 것이 재밌어요. What could this sentence mean? So we have 책, which means book, 읽다, 읽다, which means read, and then 재밌어요, which means to be fun. Well, this actually just means it is fun. It's already conjugated. So what could this mean? Yeah, Shadow Knight, you can, we're not banning you, but just calm down a bit. Okay, anyways, with the struggle of a different time zone. Yeah, no problem. I know some of you guys are in different time zones, and I don't expect all of you to stay awake for this. And it's great if you guys are able to participate here. But what would you think that this sentence means? So how would you translate this? I see some of you guys have already gotten it. Reading a book is fun. Reading books is fun. Yes, reading books is fun. The action of reading books is fun. Nice, Nito. Nice. Fun books are reading. Well, not quite. Is fun to be a book reading thing? Retro AGV, not quite. Read books is fun. Okay. Read this book. All right, okay. I think you guys have got it. I think I've got another sentence here. Okay, let's use 연습, which means practicing. 연습 하다, which means to practice. How would you say practicing is important? How would you say practicing is important? So I want to say practicing is important. And the word for to be important, 중요하다. Remember, 중요하다 is a descriptive verb. It does not take an object. 연습하는 거 중요해요. Nice. 안녕히 계세요. 내일 비디오 볼 수 있어요. Okay, nice. See you, Risky Gaming. 연습하는 거 중요해요. Nice, nice. 연습하는 거 중요해요. 연습하는 것이 중요해요. Sir Toki Sone or Son. Nice, nice. Okay, you guys have got it. 연습. So we have 연습하다, which we want to change to a noun. So 연습하는 것. Then you could say 연습하는 것이 conjugate 하다. Because you can't just say 하다 by itself. 중요해요. 연습하는 것이 중요해요. So practicing is important. Now, again, I've already said this before, but I do want to go back and just say it one more time because I think it's really important. Remember, you can also just do it like this. With 기, 하기가, 기, 연습하기가 중요해요. So practicing is important. It's the exact same meaning. And like I said, the only slight difference, if we have to split hairs, the difference between 연습하는 것 and 연습하기 is that 연습하는 것 is slightly more formal. Slightly. But it's not much to worry about. It's not enough that you have to consider which one you should use. It's not a problem. And it's not like you wouldn't use one when you're talking casually or you wouldn't use one when talking formally. It's not like that at all. It's just if you have to really split hairs, 하는 것 is slightly more formal than 하기, and that's it. But you can use either one when it's just being used like this as a noun. Okay, so let's move on. Although I said most grammar forms will use the 기 form, 기, like 하기, there are some grammar forms that will use this one. One of them is 는 것이 낫다. So this means it's better to do something, or you should do something. It's used. This is frequently used. I'd say this is more of an intermediate form. If you are a beginner, please do not learn this form because I guarantee you'll misuse it and it will not sound natural. But if you're at an intermediate level, this is a very natural sounding expression that you can use. It's often used when you're expressing your opinion about something, like I think we should do something, or it would really be best if we did that, or doing that would be better. Kind of like that when you're suggesting something is good. Natta literally means to be above something else, to be better, to be preferable to some other option. So like if you're trying to say between two options, this one's better. For example, if your friend says, hey, were you invited to the party? And you're like, no, I wasn't invited, but I'm going to go. Then you might want to say, 안 가는 것이 나을 것 같아요. Again, if you're a beginner, do not learn this form because it requires other Korean in order to use it properly, in order for it to sound natural. So you say, 안 가는 게 나을 것 같아요. I think it would be best if you didn't go. I think it would be better if you didn't go. It's a very natural way to say someone should or shouldn't do something. And literally means doing something is preferable. So it's literally not going, I think that not going is preferable, is what this sentence would mean. So let's move on. I just wanted to introduce it there so you'll see that this form does not use 기. So you're not going to say 안 가기가 낫겠다. It's only using this form. And these are preferred to be used with specific nominalization forms. So like the other grammar forms really only use those ones. Some grammar forms really only use this, but it's fewer. Most grammar forms still use 기. Another really common one would be 것이 좋겠다. Another similar one. This is more of like a high beginner one. This one isn't so intermediate, but still not really necessarily beginner. Literally means doing something would be good. And it's another way of saying you should. So 가는 것이 좋겠어요. Like 왔으면 좋겠어요. I hope that it rained. I hope that 오는 것이 좋겠어요. Like it would be good to do something. This is not a commonly used form, but you might see this from time to time just as another way to say should. That's a little bit less natural than this one, but still quite commonly, less commonly used, but still used. Let's do, And then a really common one, a normal one is, we learn how to say to start doing something with 기 and 시작하다. To stop doing something, they use 는 것. 그만하다. 그만하다 means to stop doing something or to quit something. So you can say 먹는 것을, well, I didn't quit eating. That would be really difficult. 공부하는 것을, or 공부하는 걸. If you're more intermediate, you can use 걸. Same thing. 공부하는 것을 그만했어요. I stopped studying. You can say 한국어 공부하는 것을 그만했어요. I stopped studying Korean. Or 한국어 공부하기 시작했어요. I started studying Korean. So that's the opposite. So starting is with 기 and stopping is with 는 것. So there's some forms that you do have to memorize separately because they'll use one form or the other. Okay. Like I said, I don't have too much time, but I would really like to cover a lot of these things because I feel like they're important, even though it's a lot of stuff I'm trying to cover in one lesson. I really do feel that it's all closely related, and this is all closely related to what people have issues with. The reason why so many people ask me to do this topic when, like I said, there's already videos about nominalization on the internet is because of the specific usages for each of them. So I really want to cover as many as possible. Another one. So I'll just remove this. Just remember that it's the same thing. I just want more space to write. Okay. Another one is present tense. So this is another really common thing that people ask me about is what's the difference between 하는 거예요 and just saying 해요. For example, are you going to the party? Yes. 가요. Are you going to the party? 네. 가는 거예요. This form, nominalization, can also be used in place of the regular present tense. However, it cannot be used when you're giving a command. So it cannot be used for commands. I just have to make that clear. When you're saying 가요, you can say 가요 as a statement. You can just say 가요, I'm going. Or you can use it as a question. 가요, are you going? Or you can even say it as a command. 가요, go. However, 가는 거예요 is not a command. So that's one small difference. Anyway, just a small difference. The other thing is both this form and the regular 요 form or any regular present tense form can be used the same way. You can say present tense with either or and it has the same overall meaning. There is a slight, very small difference between using present tense and this form. Okay, before I say what that is, this is not a beginning concept. If you are a beginner and you're seeing this, I can use this 는 것 for present tense. Don't, because this will really confuse you for the time being, because in order to use it, you have to also understand, well, you'll have to understand that 것 becomes 거. You'll also have to understand how to attach that with AO, and you'll have to already be good at using the present tense. But this is another way to make the present tense. Besides just saying 가요, you can also say 가는 거예요. It's the same overall meaning, but this is not a beginning concept to stress about. This is an intermediate concept. So this is like additional information for people who are already at the intermediate level. If you're a beginner, do not stress about this. It's not as important as first mastering the regular present tense. So the difference is 는 것 has a slightly more emphasis, gives the sentence a slightly stronger emphasis on the subject of the sentence. So it makes the subject of the sentence, the subject of this verb, I should say, slightly more emphasized. And just using the regular present tense makes the verb slightly more emphasized. So I'll put emphasis like this. For example, let me tell you what that means. If you say 가는 거예요, you're saying I'm going. I am going because I am the one who's going or whoever is going. Say 가는 거예요 for him or he or she or whatever the subject of that verb is. Whoever is doing 가다. It makes that subject slightly more emphasized in the sentence. So if you were to say 가는 거예요, it would be I'm going. However, if you just say 가요, it's more like saying I'm going as opposed to something else. I'm going, right? If that doesn't make any sense to you and you think they're the exact same thing, don't worry about it. You're not going to make a mistake by using this form or this form when you're trying to make the present tense. They both mean the same thing. Just the emphasis is slightly different. So you might want to use this form if you want to emphasize that you're the one who's going to do something. 제가 하는 거예요. Like, I am doing it. Like, don't worry about it. Like, if someone says, oh, who's going to be cleaning up the store tonight? 제가 하는 거예요. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's kind of like what you're saying. If you're just saying 제가 해요, you're just saying I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm cleaning it, right? But the meaning, the general sentence meaning is the exact same thing. I'm going. I'm going. They both mean that. Slightly different emphasis, whether you want to emphasize only a little bit. I'm exaggerating it so you can hear it, but only a little bit emphasizing the subject or only a little bit emphasizing the verb. So I hope that clears it up, the difference between those. But again, this is an intermediate concept. So if you're a beginner, you do not need to worry about this yet. You will hear this form and you'll learn it later. One more thing. It's the same thing with the past tense also. I know this is not what we're learning about. This is not nominalization. This does not use 능것. But it's the same thing with past tense. If you were to say 했어요, just because there are some intermediate people who will probably ask about this or wonder it. And 한 거예요. It's the exact same meaning. I did it, or someone did something, did. So just the regular 했어요 emphasizes the verb, and 한 거예요 emphasizes the subject of that verb. So like, I did it, or I did it, right? That's the only difference. And you can use either one. Future tense doesn't quite have this. Future tense has the 겠다 form, so it's a little different. But that's mainly what it is, just the subject or the verb if you're emphasizing it. Okay, I'm going to take a quick 1-minute break just to drink some water and look at the chat and then check your questions. So if you have something you'd like to ask me that you've been waiting for, feel free to ask it right now. And then I'm going to go back to the lesson so we can finish this. My brain has gone fuzzy. 있느니라. That's an older form. It's an older form that you do not need these days. Yeah, 그만해 would be used with 능것. I mean, if you say 기 with 그만해, they'll understand you. Because it's nominalization. It's the same general thing that you're doing. You're making it into a noun. They'll understand what you're saying perfectly. It's just not the way they would say it. It's quote unquote wrong. Which is better to use in spoken language? As I said, Vanessa, both of them are fine to use. If you're just trying to make a verb into a noun, either one is fine. You're not going to be right or wrong, or more right or more wrong for using either of them in regular, when you're just using it as a noun. The only time you'll be wrong is when you're trying to use it in a form, a grammar form that already prefers one or the other, as I explained. So either one is fine though. Yeah, Tessa Stanley, yeah. If you wanted to emphasize it, you can, but it's not something where you're like consciously trying to wonder, which should I emphasize? Should I emphasize myself or should I emphasize the verb? That's not what it is. It's not what it's about. It's not Koreans thinking, oh, I really want to emphasize that I'm doing this. It's not like that. It's just, they'll do it intuitively, but you don't really have to worry about that. You can also emphasize simply by speaking. When you speak, 제가, you could say me or whatever like that, a little bit louder or a little bit, more emphasized. And that works too. So you don't have, if in case you forget, you can still emphasize it just by the tone of your voice. For anyone wondering, there's just water. So my throat gets kind of dry. 뭐 하는 거야? It just means literally, what are you doing? But because it has the ya at the end, it's the casual version, 반말. I did a live lesson talking about 반말. So it's going to be rude if you're using that to anyone who's not your close friend. So yeah, if you say 뭐 하는 거야 to someone who's not your close friend, it's really rude. Like, hey, what are you doing? and you're not supposed to be speaking casually with them, then it's rude. But it's rude also because you're not supposed to be speaking casual. The words themselves are not rude, though. It just means, what are you doing? There's no swear in that sentence. Reading to emphasize I, the subject. Yeah, you can do that. So 능거예요 emphasizes the subject. Yeah, whether it's a person or a thing. 는 사람, that's different. kyang. I did a lesson about that. Check out my live stream about changing action verbs to adjectives. I did a full live stream about that. So check that out, that'll answer your question in very lots of detail. Over a 2-hour lesson. Okay, so let's get back to the lesson. I want to make sure I can finish this. One more thing that's not directly, this thing is actually not nominalization. So there's one more thing that is not nominalization that looks exactly like this. So it looks exactly the same, but there's also a case when it's not being used as nominalization. Kind of. So let me clear this up. This can also just translate as, and although it is nominalization, in English you'll translate it differently. It will feel weird if you just translate it as ing. What this is actually related to what someone just asked. They said, can I put, instead of 것 for thing, can I use 사람 for person? And I said, oh, that's actually just changing the adjective. I mean, you're changing the action verb into an adjective here. And you're saying, which is a lesson I did previously for live stream. If you use this form, it can also sometimes translate it as something that. And I'll show you why. This isn't as crazy as it might seem. Like I'm building it up to be some crazy thing, but it's just a slightly different way you might want to translate something. So for example, you might say, 김치는, so 김치, 제가 좋아해요. Okay, first we'll just do this. Kimchi, as for kimchi, I like it. 제가 좋아해요. I like kimchi, basically. When it comes to kimchi, I like it. And we learned about this last stream when we talked about topic and subject markers. But what if you were to say this? 제가 좋아하는 는 거예요. Or, yeah, 것이에요. Same thing. 거예요. So this 거 is just called, but it's written shorter. 거예요. 김치는 제가 좋아하는 거예요. Literally, when it comes to kimchi, or as for kimchi, 제가 좋아하는 것, it is something that I like. This is actually not a new concept I'm teaching here. This is actually straight from the topic we learned about for changing action verbs into adjectives. It just literally means it is something that I like. 좋아하는 거예요. So it looks exactly like nominalization because it's 는 and 것, but all it is really is the regular adjective form, 는, with 것 as thing. So it is a thing. As for kimchi, it is a thing that I like. Remember we learned how to say that I like or who I like or which for the lesson. So if this is confusing to you and you don't get this, it's simply because you weren't here for the live stream when I taught about changing action verbs to adjectives. So go watch that. If that sounds really confusing to you, then that's probably above your level. That could be like low intermediate level and you're not ready for that. So forget all of this and don't worry about that if you're still a new beginner. But you might see the 는 call and think, oh, it's nominalization. I am liking. It is I am liking. That's not a noun here. It's not. And what it is actually is it's the 는 from changing an changing an action verb into an adjective, and it just so happens to be used with 것. So it looks like it's nominalization, but it's not nominalization. If that makes sense. Okay. So I just want to make one quick point about that. So in case you see it, it might be that. It's not quite nominalization, although it looks exactly the same. All right, and then the last nominalization form we're going to learn. So those are the main two. And if you're learning nominalization for your first time, that's all you need. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. But We're going to go on. There's one more nominalization form. This is less of a beginner one, but it's still a common one, and that's or just miam. And to make it, you take an action verb stem, just like before, and you attach if it ends in a consonant, or you attach a miam, which is just this letter, if it ends in a vowel. If it has a lir in it, just like before, you do not have to do anything. So this one is, you do not have to remove this letter, which makes it look interesting. So how that works is, if it has a vowel or if it has the lir, you attach the miam. So this is a different conjugation rule than the other two forms. So for example, you can have hada, you remove the ta, it ends in a vowel, so you attach ham. You can have mokta, to eat, you remove the ta, it ends in a consonant, so you attach eating or doing, or you attach 살다, to live, and 살다, you attach, move the ta first, and then now it has a lir, so you attach miam right there. Ham. Yes. So, oh, and if you're wondering for pronunciation, for this rule, pronunciation, you can ignore pronouncing the lir. So they just say sam when they pronounce it. Sam, not salm, salm, salm. At least when it's by itself. This is if you're reading it by itself. So anyway, that's just a quick, that's also more of an intermediate tip. Okay, so what this is in general, it's also one way of changing a verb into a noun. However, 제가 좋아하는 거예요. Yep, Leonardo, nice. This YouTube channel, as for this YouTube channel, it is something that I like, or I like this YouTube channel. And there are a lot of words that are using this structure. So this is completely different. Although this way also changes a verb into a noun. So we have 하다, to do, becomes ham, doing, 먹음, eating, 삶, living. It is not used that way. And I'll tell you why. So first of all, you cannot swap this with the other nominalization forms. So we learned that you can say 수영하기 or 수영하는 것, right? And they're both okay, like swimming. I like swimming, or swimming is fun. Swimming is important. You cannot swap this to become 수영함. 수영함을 좋아해요. That makes zero sense. It makes sense. It's completely grammatically awkward in Korean. You cannot swap this with the other forms. So, how do you even use it? When is it used? Well, it's used all the time, but we'll talk about that. This, when you change a verb into this nominalization form, this noun, did I say change a verb into a noun? Yeah, when you change a verb into a noun with this nominalization system, this noun is something that completely acts like its own noun. And what I mean by that is, if you were to open a dictionary, right, and you want to know, how do I say, for example, how do I say teaching, right? How do I say teaching in Korean? 가르치다 is to teach. So you might think, oh, I like teaching. Teaching is fun. 가르치기. Oops, 가르치가. I was thinking 가르치기가. Okay, 가르치기, right? Teaching. So teaching is fun. I like teaching, or 가르치는 것, right? Teaching is fun. Teaching is difficult. I like teaching, you know, all that. You're good. 가르치는 것, 가르치기. But if you look in a dictionary for teaching, you're not going to find these, because the dictionary assumes that you know how to say that in Korean. They assume you know how to make a regular verb into a noun. So I like doing something. I like teaching. If you look in a dictionary, you'll probably find this word, 가르침. The reason is, this doesn't just mean I like teaching or teaching is fun. This means teachings, as in a pastor from a church gave me some amazing teachings, right? Like, it's almost like the nouns that this nominalization form creates are completely separate, unique nouns, like a new concept. So we have here 가르침, which means teachings. So you might think like, Moses in the Bible had great teachings, right? You wouldn't use, for that, you would not say 가르치기. 가르치기. Because this means, 가르치기 actually means the act of, right? The act of teaching. Or same with 는, 가르치는 것. The act of teaching. You wouldn't say that teacher, that minister or whatever, that guy or that instructor has great the act of teachings, right? That wouldn't make any sense. You would know, you would say he has the thing or the object or something called, or the thing that is. I'm not sure how you would want to translate that. I'll tell you a good way to use this though, so don't worry if it's a little confusing. I'll clarify this a little more. So you would say it's the thing of teaching or whatever, the actual teachings, what he is teaching. 가르침, right? So this usage of all of these is completely different. And in fact, the reason that it is so different, well, not the reason why, an effect of being so different and so unique is don't even memorize how to make this at all. Don't memorize how to make this form at all if you're going to be using it like nominalization. So there is a case where you need this, but if you're trying to just change a verb into a noun, do not use this form. Instead, simply memorize these words individually, like as if they were regular vocabulary words. I'll give you some examples. So I've only told you one, 가르침, teachings. Another one, you might have seen this. 춤. 춤 means a dance. You might say, oh, his dance was so cool. You would say, 그 사람의 춤, his dance, which literally means dancing. It comes from 추다, which means to dance. In Korean, they use the word 춤 for a dance. Right? You might have even seen this word before. 꿈 means a dream. You don't have to memorize the verb 꾸다, which means to dream. You just have to memorize 꿈, means a dream. Okay? You don't need to memorize how to make this form for nominalization because these words are things that will pop up in the dictionary by themselves. Let me give you a bunch more. So these are sleep, 잠. 잠 is sleep. If you say, oh, I need sleep, you would say 잠. Literally means sleeping, literally means dreaming, and literally means dancing. Let's see. 기쁨. 기쁨 and 슬픔. 기쁨 means happiness, and 슬픔 means sadness. They are made from this form, but they kind of acquire their own special usage. And I don't recommend making these yourself. I simply recommend learning the ones that you see as if they were regular nouns, as if they're regular Korean vocabulary words, not that they came from 기쁘다, 슬프다, to be sad and to be happy, or 꾸다, to dream, or 추다, to dance, or 자다, to sleep. Let's see, another one. 도움. 도움 means help. Like, I need help. 저는 도움이 필요해요. I need help. They use this, but it comes from the verb 돕다, to help. I won't talk about how it does. It's an irregular one. Let's see, 느낌. Maybe you know the word 느낌, which means a feeling. It comes from the verb 느끼다, which means to feel. All right, take care, Ahimang. Have a nice trip. She's going to like Chicago or something. Children, eating, swimming, teaching. Then Zion, you might have, did you miss the beginning of the lesson? Yeah, you're supposed to use the key form for any lists. Yeah, and check out the Discord. So she posted the Discord link in the chat. That's a chat room. There's like 300 or 400 people in there, and it's really active, and we're all practicing Korean and asking questions. So you can come in there. It's completely free. Check out the link that Ahimang posted and go ahead and join up. You can do it right through a browser, or there's an app for your phone if you want. Okay, so again, you don't have to memorize how to make this form if you're just going to use it as nominalization. Just memorize these words separately. And you don't have to go and memorize all these words right now, although you might already know some of these because they're very common. But anytime you see one, at least recognize, like, oh, I see, it came from that verb. Like 기쁨 came from 기쁘다, to mean which means to be happy. So I can guess 기쁨 probably means happiness. It's a noun. So only use them as you've seen them being used and as you learn them. But don't go out of your way to make these. You don't need to use this as a nominalization form. And again, it cannot be swapped with any of the other ones. Let's see. I have some more examples of it, but I don't want to go over the time. So there is one more place you might see these being used. So this form, like I said, you don't need to associate it with nominalization, but there's one more place that you might see this used, actually two more places. The first one is in comments section. Comments on a document. That comments that you just want to write quickly. Like you're not writing a comment to somebody, not on the internet, not an internet comment, not a comment for someone, but like say you have a paper with a file on it and someone's picture, blah, 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 and you want to write some comments here. Like, oh, this person's a really good person. You could say 아주. You want to say 아주 좋아요. It's very, very good. You'd say 아주 좋음. They do the same conjugation as just a quick shorthand for writing comments on a document, on paper, written comments that it's not intended for anyone specifically to read. But you'll see this sometimes, like maybe a student record could have this, or like maybe notes on a project. You might write some notes on a project like with using this form, and it's just you take the verb stem just like before and you attach or miam at the end. Exactly the same. But there's one more way you might see this used. So this is one way you might see it used, but I would not recommend writing this in your own comments because you want to make sure it's only comments on like a document type of thing, not comments on a YouTube video or comments on on someone else's thing they want feedback. Because the idea of this is you're not writing it to specifically anyone. You're just putting it down on paper, not for anyone specifically to read. So that's what it could be used for. One more usage is sometimes you might see this, and that's childish slang. Kids, and when I say kids, I mean like young teenagers only. I should add in young immature because I'm not mocking this style as much as I'm saying it's not common. So if you go about using this form, same form, but spoken. If you start speaking this or writing this in message boards to people or writing this in chat or talking to other people with this form, first of all, it's casual, so it's 반말. It's only slang. And it also sounds childish. So if you're a really young teenager and you're trying to be funny, you're trying to be cool next to your friends, you might want to use this. But if you're an adult or you're a regular teenager and you're talking like this to your Korean friends and your Korean's not very good yet, it'll just only sound awkward. It'll sound kind of cringy. So I want you to know how you might hear this, but I'd also caution against using it because it can sound really cringy and immature, unless that's your intention. So it's the exact same thing. Like somebody might say, oh, I don't want to do it. They just say, 싫음, 안 함. I hate it. I'm not doing it. 싫음, 안 함. Ha 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 ha. And then, they laugh and they think they're cool that they can conjugate this form. But it just sounds kind of cringy. So it's like, okay, you sound dumb. But you might hear it used that way sometimes too. In text on screen and TV variety, nope, it will not be used in that situation. Because, like I said, it's only for casual usage in that way. And the other usage when you see it in a document is not a casual usage. That's when there is no intended audience. So it wouldn't be on a TV program either for that same reason. Could you use the plain form? Yeah, you can use the plain form in that case too. In fact, the plain form is what you'll use normally for writing an essay or writing a journal or writing a newspaper article or something that you're writing out to the world, but you don't know who's going to be reading it. Then that's the plain form. This is not. This is more for something you're just putting down that you have no intended audience at all. You're just writing something down really quick, but you don't intend anyone to read it. Someone might read it, but you don't intend anyone to read it. You don't know which formality you should use. You just use, no, that's not true. I'm not sure where you heard that, but it's not related to formality so much with that. It just has a few uses. Shopping list would be using, no, not with a shopping list either. Like I said, lists use the key form. Okay. So, and we haven't done a super in-depth of these forms, and I actually have more example sentences for each of these forms that I haven't been able to do because of time. I don't want to go too far. So I'm skipping a lot of the examples, but if you're a Patreon supporter, check the Patreon feed like in 1 hour, and you'll be able to read them if you want. Okay. Freeze QO, bought your first book, really helpful. Oh, thanks, Freeze. I don't know how to say your name. Freeze QO. Thanks for your support. Okay. Okay, yeah, if you're in Discord, you might have to verify your email to do that. The reason that Discord does that is to keep out spammers. So like with other chat rooms, you might have problems with people coming in and spamming, like posting product links or weird things in the chat, and then they require email verification, at least to make sure it's real people. You can still some people go in and troll or scam, but at least it's a real person doing it and not just a robot usually. Liu, Billy, I'll be buying your books soon too. Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate it. You don't need my books to learn Korean, but I think they're pretty good. Although I wrote them, so I'm a bit biased on it. All right, so a few of you are asking, like, for example, when I was talking Suyong, you're like, can't I just say, I like swimming, 수영을 좋아해요. Some people were just saying, can't I just say this because it's already a noun, right? 수영 means swimming, and 수영하다 means to swim. Some people are asking about that. Let me give you an example. So the answer is yes and no. Grammatically, yes, you can say that too, but no, the meaning is actually different. If you take a hada verb, so any verb with hada, and you want to make it into hagi or hanen 것, and you say, what's the difference between just using this part at the beginning instead, because it's already a noun, right? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. Just for a minute, so we don't have much time. I also have a quiz today. So let's do this with 연습. So practice, right? 연습하다. So 연습 means practice, and 하다 makes it into a verb. So now it's an action verb, to practice. So to practice, literally. So you could say something like this, using what we've learned. 연습하기, practicing, also 중요해요. Practicing too, or practicing also is important. So it is important to also practice, okay? So we've got here so far. So practice is important too. It's also important to practice. Practicing is literally practicing also is important. So what about the difference between this and just saying this? 연습도, practice also is important, right? Well, you can, but it's slightly different meaning. If you're saying 연습하기도, what you're saying is even practicing. Specifically, the act of. So the meanings are slightly different versus just saying practice. Because practice doesn't necessarily mean the act of practicing. Practice could actually mean your actual practice. Think like band practice or karate practice, or like, oh, I don't want to go to my karate practice today, or I think practice is useless. That's just the noun practice by itself. So you can say practice is important too, but if you're saying 연습하기도, what you're saying is actually practicing. The act of practicing is what's important. You're not just saying a practice, because practice of something, practice of what? Could be anything. A practice is important, or practicing is important. Similar meanings, but slightly different, since the key using 하기 or 연습하는 것, 연습하기, means the act of practicing. So do you want to say the act of studying? Do you want to say the act of actually swimming is what's important? Or you want to say actually swimming is fun? Or do you just want to say swim is fun? You can get away with either, but you might more easily, at least in the beginning, want to stick with this form, because you might not understand the nuance of just the noun unless you've learned the noun separately. Have you learned the noun 연습 by itself, or have you only learned 연습하다? If you've only learned 연습하다 and know it means to practice, don't feel like you can just separate that and now automatically know the noun form, because it might have a slightly different usage. Same with 공부. 공부. 공부, study. This just means a study. Like in general, study. Like study something, study anything. Versus 공부하다 or 하기, studying. So if you want to say, I like studying Korean, you cannot say 한국어를 공부를 좋아해요. So I'm writing this really messy just because I'm trying to go for time. 한국어를 공부를 좋아해요, because that's not even a verb. What you could do is 한국어 공부를 좋아해요, but that literally means I like Korean study. It does not mean I like studying Korean. It just means I like Korean study. It could be a little awkward to say I like Korean study in English. Like I like Korean study. Well, I like science study. I like humanities study. It kind of sounds more like a field of study, instead of saying studying Korean. So it's a different meaning than saying the act of doing something. And if you ever want to say more than just that one word by itself, here you're trying to say study Korean, you have to use one of our forms, 하기 or 하는 것. So I hope that clears it up, that they are different. Oh, Zilly, welcome. You're fine, because Ahimang just left like 5 minutes ago, and then you popped in, so it actually works out perfectly. Okay, and we're great. We have 10 minutes left, and I have a quiz for you. I have a quiz for you guys. So, quiz questions. You guys need to tell me which form. I have two quizzes today. 2 quizzes. But the first one is, tell me which form I should use for each of these situations. Are you guys ready for the quiz? The first situation, which form do I use? So I have 2, we're gonna do with these 2, 기 and 는것. Which form do I use for making a list of things that I want to do? So I'm gonna make a long list of a bunch of things that I want to do today. So which form do I use? Blind guy, that was fast. You're on top. Gi. Okay, you guys got it. Gi, that's right. Oh, Mako-ru, can you not write in Korean on your keyboard? Ko. Okay, next question. You guys all got it. It's gi. So when you're making a list, you'll want to use gi. Next one is, when you're writing the title of, let's say, you need to write the title of an exam section, and the exam section's title is called practicing. So which form would you use? There's only 2 options, but okay, maybe a little bit too easy. That's right, ki. Okay, so if you're trying to write, say, the title of a section on an exam or a section on a book or anything like that, any sort of titles, as I mentioned, like buttons as well, they'll use ki. So lists or anything like that. Anytime there's a bunch of things you need to write, like just in general, studying, listening, writing, looking, reading, like all that stuff just in general usually uses key form for lists. Okay, which form would you use to say the present tense? So one of these forms can be used to make the present tense. And I said that's more of an intermediate concept, but which one of these is related to saying the present tense also? We are the knights who say gi. Close. You must find a herring. Nungot, that's right, guys. Nungot, nungot, nungot. You guys all got it. Nun, not Japanese. Can you write in Korean? 미리 책을 다 샀어요. 지금 세 번째 책 읽고 있어요. Oh, nice. 많이 도와주셔서 너무 감사합니다. Wow, your Korean is actually pretty good. 언니 설비, welcome. I just saw this long Korean sentence. I'm like, oh, maybe it's a Korean person. And they're like, oh, I bought your books. I'm like, oh, it's not a Korean person. Cool. Okay. Which form would you use to say that you start doing something? Say like you wanted to say, start listening. To start doing something, which one would you use? Ki or nungo? Clorox bleach. I'm from North Korea. Okay. I don't believe you. Although I did check my Google Analytics, my YouTube, to see who watches my video, and I have had a few views from North Korea. I'm not joking. So some people in North Korea, I'm guessing maybe Kim Jong-un goes home after a late night of partying, sits down at his computer, he's like, oh, what's this? What did Billy upload this week? Watched a few of my videos. But yeah, I doubt that anyone from North Korea is watching this broadcast right now. And I think they only came in to see my Korean history video and my North Korean dialect video. That might have triggered something they have. Okay, I think you got it all. Yeah, they have some VPNs. I thought about that too, but probably not. Because it was too few views to have to be a VPN. It was like 3 or something. If a VPN, they would have been a lot more if someone had a North Korean VPN. So anyway, I don't think that would make me really practical to have a North Korean VPN anyway. All right, so that's right, gi, to say start something. So for stopping something, which one would you use to say that you stop doing something? Again, gi or nunkot? And then we'll move on to our second quiz. See if I could trick you guys. I tricked one person. I tricked Michelle Wilson. Yes, it's actually nungot for saying that you're stopping something. Unless you were trying to reply to the previous question, in which case I didn't trick you. Nungot. Okay. You guys got it. So the next quiz I have is not just a guessing one. I want you guys to translate a few things. I think I might actually even finish on time. Oh my goodness. Okay. The pressure, he'll call you out. Yeah. I like to call you guys out if you make mistakes. It's not because I'm not, of course, not trying to mock you. But I really think that, when I was in Korean class a long time ago, when I was studying Korean by myself, actually. Yeah, let's go all the way back. When I was studying Korean my very first time by myself using some books, I had nobody to tell me if I was doing something correct or not. Of course, I would have preferred to hear all the time, good job, Billy, good job, that's right. But that wouldn't really help me. And I wish that I had somebody, and when I was living in Korea, I wish I had somebody that would say, wait, hold up. You said this. This is incorrect, and let me tell you why. And then kind of explain it to me. I would feel like, I feel kind of embarrassed. But at the same time, I'm not going to make that mistake again. And I think that's kind of what I want to do. I don't mind. I hope you guys don't mind if I call you guys out if you make a mistake. I'm not trying to be like, nah, your Korean's bad, you're making a mistake. It's more like, hey, I noticed you made a simple mistake. I actually covered that topic this day or in this lesson, and I think if you watch this video, it'll help you. And then maybe explaining it, because there are a lot of really common mistakes that people make that it's nothing to be ashamed of. It just depends, what sources are you using? Maybe another source taught you wrong, or maybe you don't have a source that's teaching you that and you're just guessing. So I think it's important. Okay, first sentence I want you guys to make. I like studying Korean. Make this sentence. I like studying Korean. And I'll give you a few hints. 공부하다 is to study. Korean is 한국어 or 한국말. 한국어 is actually more common than 한국말, if you're wondering. If you've seen both, 한국어 and 한국말. Of those, all is more common. So I like studying. Oh, you're fast, Zion. 저 한국어를 공부하는 것을 좋아합니다. Oh, perfect. Perfect, man. 한국어를 공부하는 걸 좋아해요. Nice, perfect. Mary Liz, another perfect sentence. 한국어 공부하는 거 좋아해요. Nice, blind guy. 공부하기가 좋아요. Nice, Sir Toki-san. Not the way I thought you'd make it, but that's okay too. 공부하는 것이, okay, that makes sense. Again, 좋아하다 is action verb. So an action verb needs an object. If you're saying that you're studying something, or liking something, what is it that you like? Well, what you like is the object. You have to mark that with the object marker, not the subject marker. 한국말, no, they both refer to the language. 한국말 and 한국어, they both refer to Korean language, but 한국어 is simply a more common way of saying the Korean language. 한국말 sounds a little bit more colloquial, but it doesn't sound more natural. It sounds actually less common than 한국어. A lot of the languages have an all or a 말 at the end. The version with all is usually going to be more common. But I found that 말 is the one that's most usually taught right away from the beginning. All is much more common though. I think the all sounds more natural too. But it's not wrong to say 말, it's totally fine. 공부하기, 공부하기를, yes. So if you just remove the 공부하기를, then you're fine. So people might remove this when speaking. So I'm not gonna dock you any points for that. You guys are doing pretty good. The lir goes in front of the language because it's the object. The object marker goes in front of that. Okay, next sentence. You guys are actually pretty good at that. So let's give you something hard. Making kimchi is fun. So to make is 만들다. Of course, kimchi, I'm not going to tell you how to write kimchi. And fun, let's use 재미있다. Remember to conjugate these appropriately. I'm just giving you the bare bones here to make it. So we want to say, making kimchi is fun. So how would we say that? 김치를 만드는 것이 재밌어요. 계란, senpaio. You're fast and perfect. Perfect. Okay, 김치 만드는 거 재밌어요. Nice. That's nice too. Soft struck. 김치 만들기 재밌어요. Nice. Eileen Z. 김치를 만들기 재밌어요. Okay, Miss Panda. 김치를 만드는 게 재밌어. Leonardo. Nice. 김치. Blind guy. You have a typo. I'm guessing that's a typo. 김치를 만드는 because you have 만들은, but remember it's 는 것. It's not 은 것. It's always 는. 꿀잼. Okay. 김치. 만들기 재밌어요. You have a typo, that makes sense, but the rest of the sentence, I'm not going to dock you for it. That's okay. 김치 만들기는 재밌지요. Okay, no one knows. That's good too. Okay, Victoria Moran, you put an object marker before a descriptive verb. Descriptive verbs cannot have an object because you're not fun something, just something is fun. So you have to use a subject marker. So ka or 는 or something else like that, but you cannot use the object marker. I would suggest a review of my subject and object marker lesson, which I did last week. There's only a 30-minute section of it that you'd have to watch for the object marker, but that's really important to know. Let's see. 김치를 만드는. Jin, you're missing a part. Try again, Jin. You're missing the part of the sentence with 는 것. Dang, Kylie. Kylie, where'd that come from? Wow, Kylie, thank you. I missed today's lesson. You missed the lesson and you're giving a donation after missing the lesson. Is that your fee for missing today's lesson? Thank you, Kylie. I really appreciate that. I'll use that to pay for these markers which I bought last week because the other ones were dying. These are actually very expensive. Thank you. I really appreciate that. 종영. 오랜만에 빌리 동영상 보는데 엄청 발전했네요. 은정 김 스트리밍도 하고 멋진. Thanks. Thanks, 은정 Kim. You must have been here a long time ago then. 대박. But I hope we stream frequently. Yeah. Thanks again, Kelly. Okay, we have one more. Okay, so you guys are pretty good at this too. Let's do another sentence. Okay, brushing your teeth. Every day. I'll give you the words for this. Is important. Okay, to be important. Important is 중요하다. See if someone can figure out how to translate this before I finish writing these words. Every day is 매일. There's another way to say it, but I'll just stick with this one. 매일. Brush your teeth is 양치하다. It's just one word. 양치하다. 양 means brush, teeth, 하다. So brush teeth. So brushing your teeth every day is important. So how would you say brushing your teeth every day is important? Or you could also translate it as it is important to brush your teeth every day, as you remember in the very beginning where I gave that explanation. So it is important to brush your teeth every day. 네, 저 한국인입니다. 네, 그럴 줄 알았어요. I figured you're Korean by your perfect Korean sentence that you wrote. It was too natural. Jin, you're really close, Jin. You said 김치는 만드는. You said 만들은, but remember it's 만드는. It's 는 것, not 은 것, 는 것. If you just fix that, your sentence is okay. Jin, I'm guessing, Jin, you missed the beginning part of the lesson where I explained how to use it. But if you missed it and still got it, that close, it's not bad. 입을 씻다. 입을 씻다, retro AGV, to wash your mouth. That would be like if you're swearing and you're 50 years ago and your mom washes your mouth with soap. 이빨 닦. Yeah. 이빨 닦다. Yeah. So wipe, literally to brush your teeth. You say 이빨 닦다. 매일 양치하는 것이 중요해요. Nice. 매일 양치하는 것이 중요해요. Kaylon Senpayo again. Really fast. 매일매일 양치하는 것이 중요해요. Softstruck, really nice. You put the double 매일. That's fine too. You can say 매일매일 if you want to stress every single day, or just 매일, which means every day. Some people will also do 매일매일, like every single day. Put it twice. 양치하기 중요해요. Okay, you can do that, Eileen. You wrote 마일, which is just a typo, but I'm just letting you know. 김치 만들기는 재밌어요. Yes, as for making kimchi, well, it's a lot of fun. Perfect, Michelle. 매일 양치하기가 중요해요. 매일 양치하는 것 중요해요. No deeps, you just have a typo at the end. You wrote 중요, should be 중요해요. 매일 야치, 양치. Gene, you're really close though. You just had a typo. 양치, not 야치. But it's good. You got it. 매일 양치하기가 중요해요. 감사합니다. 빌리님 동영상을 다 도와줘요. 도움, to be helpful. So I told you before this word 도움, which means help. To say to be helpful, they actually say 도움이 되다, which literally means to become help. So if you want to say it was helpful, you'd say 도움이 됐어요. 도움이 됐어요. It became help in the past tense. So that's what they use. And this miam is the form that we learned, which means comes from help. Literally means to become help. Okay, I'm already going 4 minutes over, so I just have one more I want to do. And I apologize. I tried to keep this under 2 hours. Again, every week I'm getting closer though. This week's really close. I'm only an hour and 4 minutes over. Last week was like hour and 10. I don't want to read books. This is a little different. It uses the nominalization form, but it uses this one that we learned. Oh, I'll just write 싫다. If you can think of another way to write this, feel free. Or you can use this form we use, the 기 싫다. Read is 읽다. Well, actually, they pronounce it as 읽다, although it's written as 읽다. It's supposed to say, you're supposed to say it's 읽다, but not everyone says it that way, and even in Korean. So, 읽다 for to read. Books is 책. So try this. 이를 닦다? Yeah, 이를 닦다 just literally is that's a pure Korean verb way to say to brush your teeth. Whereas 양치하다 is a Sino-Korean, it comes from Chinese. It's another way to say brush your teeth. They both mean brush your teeth. Okay, let's see. 읽다. 책을 읽기 싫어요. Nice. I don't want to read books. 읽기 싫어요. 너무 도움이었어요. No, it deeps. It's not 도움이었어요. It's 도움이 됐어요. It's not it was a help because like I said, 도움 means literally the noun help. Like it is a help. You wouldn't say it is a help. You would say it was helpful. And helpful, they say in Korean, literally to become help, to become a help, which is 도움이 되다. And in the past tense, you want to say it was helpful. You say 됐어요. If you want to say it is helpful, you can say 도움이 돼요. It is. But if you want to say was, like what you're trying to say, 도움이 됐어요. It became helpful. I mean, it became help. It was a help. I think you guys got it. 책을 읽기 싫어요. 책을 읽고 싶지 않아요 is also fine, Zion. That's also fine too. 책을 읽기 싫어요 is also okay too. That means I dislike reading. 책을 읽기 싫어요. 책을 읽기 싫어. Sir Toki Sone, you have a typo for Jack. You wrote Jack. You wrote I don't like to read Jack. But other than the typo, your sentence is fine. 책 읽기는 싫다. Nice. No one knows. It's actually good. 책 읽기 싫어요. Old live lessons, they're all up since the very beginning, even since my old live stream for hitting 100,000 subscribers, and all my live streams they're all online still. 우리 선생님은 디스코드 사람이 없다고 하셨는데 that's right. Wally, I did. I said you had no life when you said you watched one of my videos like 23 times or something on repeat. So then I said you had no life. All right, I think we're good. I think you guys got it. So again, if you're a Patreon, check out the Patreon stream just 1 hour later. This will be all online. There's actually a lot of sentences here I couldn't give because of time. I wanted to make sure we finished on time, and we mostly did. It was 2 hours and 7 minutes. So close enough. 책을 읽는 것을 좋아해요. I like reading books, yes. Sorry, I know that I don't want to hurt your soul to say you dislike books. It's just an example sentence. I make a lot of example sentences that I don't actually believe, just for practicing Korean. All right. Again, check out the Discord chat, the chat room. So there's a link to that in my community tab if you ever forget it. There's also links that have been posted throughout this chat all day today. So you can also, oh yeah, thanks, Secretive. Thanks for posting the link again. Check out the chat room. It's free. I'm there a lot of the time, and there's people who can answer your questions. You can practice Korean. You can even speak Korean. There are some natives there who hang out. So yeah, it's a really useful place for learning Korean. Thank you everyone for coming. I really like doing these live streams, believe it or not. And this Tuesday, I will put up another poll for next week's lesson. Maybe next week we'll do like future forms, because I know a bunch of people wanted to do the future forms. Like 할게, 할 거예요, 할래요. There's a lot of them. So I think that we might do those next week, unless you guys vote on something different. It's up to you, whatever you guys want to learn. The only thing is I'm not going to repeat lessons. So eventually your topic will get covered. So thanks for coming, everyone. And I will see you guys again. Hey, Billy, are you in Korea? No, I'm not in Korea right now. I'm in the US, but I'll be in Korea again next year. I go to Korea every year. So I'm in Korea about a third or a fourth of every year. So I kind of consider it like my home, although I don't actually live there, technically. Because I don't work there or anything. I just go there, visit friends, and film videos. 책을 읽고 싶지 않아요. Michelle Wilson. Nice, nice. I think you guys have gotten it for the most part, how it works. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to comment below this video, or you can also ask questions in the Discord chat. There's a live stream channel where we always talk about different specific things related to the live stream, and you can suggest topics there. There's lots of cool stuff in the Discord, so definitely check it out. Again, it's free, so I'm not promoting it for any benefit of mine. It's just a free, fun community. Take care, guys, and I will see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐. Hey, KitKat, I need your help for a second. Yeah, you know what to do. Okay, okay. Here, come here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, again, it's the other side. Okay, come to the other side. Yeah, over here. Okay, yeah. You see that button there? Okay, yeah. No, that's the camera one. Yeah, okay. No, it's the little X on the right side. Yeah, that one. Okay, you got it? Yeah. Now you hit the okay.